What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr Wargames, and today I'm bringing you a test and combo video for the Swordsoul Zing profile I showed you all the other day. Now this build is utilising old list, new list and a ban list, but what I want to show you is how Denglong and the Zings can utilise and help the Swordsoul strategy, giving them more defensive options and more interactions during your opponent's turn. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. After a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, open out of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're in a pretty decent position because we're going to be able to set out a lot of things. So you're going to start by special summoning out the Yugioh. You can ignore the draw and lock bird, but opening up a hand trap is insanely powerful. It means that if we're going second, in the right matchup, we're going to slow them down, and even going first, you can then stall them for another turn. So you're going to special summon out the Yugioh, you're going to link that off, you're going to go into Monk. This now gives you the full capabilities of Vessel, and will also allow us to get into Denglong plays. So activate Vessel, this is going to allow the Foolish Barrel any worm, while also adding a worm of a different type, or mainly a Tenyi of a different type. So the one you want to add is the Adhara. Anything else you send is entirely up to you. Now if you want to be sending a card that you're going to try and recycle back with something like a Tire, then of course you can go for Long One, which is very easily done. Alternatively as well, you can send the Chew in, but because we've already got the Yugioh in the graveyard, you can probably hold on to that. So then what we want to do here is you want to special summon down the Adhara, you want to normal summon the Ecclesia. You're going to use Ecclesia's effect to tag herself out, and this is going to get you the Tire. You could go for Moe if you want to, but you don't have any worm to reveal in the hand, so Tire is going to be your Mac Daddy in this scenario. You then use Tire's effect. Now it's important that you actually banish the long one because you'll be able to add that back later on, and this is going to spawn its own token. This is when we're going to go down into Denglong plays. If you want to, a safer play is you have the ability to special summon down Ringo Worm. You can then go into Yugioh, and then you've got the ability to go into Baron or a Chaos Angel. But because I want to show you the Denglong routes, I'm going to show you how you can utilize those to the max potential. So you go into Denglong, you go chain it 1 Denglong, chain it 2 Tire. Tire gives you that ability to Foolish Barrel another worm if you want to. And obviously the search off of the Denglong is of course going to be the Pillars of the Zing. Now, if you want to save the Foolish Barrel of the Denglong to adapt its level, then you would send the Chew in off of the Tire. In this scenario, I'm actually going to send anything that isn't Shafana, basically. So you can send the Moe, you can send a Vishuda. I suppose the Vishuda will give me a bounce for the next turn, so we'll actually go with that instead. But you can pretty much send anything you want. And like I said, if you wanted to save the effect of the Denglong or keep it as a level 5, then you'd actually send the Chew in. Now at this point, it's entirely up to you. You do need to special summon down the Ringo Worm before you activate the Yugioh, because that then will lock you into worms. So you can't special summon this from the hand. The issue you have at the moment is all of these are tuners. So that's one thing to keep in mind as you try and make your plays go further forward. So you start by activating the Yugioh. This is going to let you special from the deck, and this is where Shafana becomes incredibly important, because Shafana is going to allow you to get a level 4 to the board, which gives you access to Yugioh. So if you then sync the Tire token plus the Shafana and go into the Yugioh, you then get an additional search. Now because we've got access to the long one here, off of the Yugioh, you can actually be a lot more defensive and go into something like Blackout. Keeping in mind, as it currently stands, being able to add the long one back to the hand is not going to give us the ability to have a discard. This is where you kind of want the draw and lock bird to be a worm, but that's not the end of the world. So off of the Yugioh, you can either go for something like an emergence to deck fin if you're not worried about draw, or you probably have been drawed by this point. This will then just allow you to set up another Swordsoul to search you out, another Swordsoul for the follow-up. Or you can go for Blackout and be more defensive, but you won't get a second level 10 to the board. If you want a second level 10 to the board, all you need to do is add a Swordsoul card. So add emergence, activate emergence just to deck fin a little bit more. We haven't got Moe in the grave yet, so we'll go for Moe. You could also very easily as well, if you were to Foolish Barrel Moe, you could go for another level 8, but again you need another Swordsoul in the hand, and that's where Long One coming back to the hand would help you out. So then what you want to do here is you then want to activate the effect of Adhara. It's going to banish to let you add the long one back. Now again, you've got different routes of play depending on where you want to go. What I mean by that is you've got the ability to get 2 level 10 worms on the board. So if you were to play Sovereign, you could end your board on a Sovereign plus a Chen Ying plus the ability to bring back a Yugioh. Or you can do it a little bit differently because I'm not playing the second Chen Ying, but I'll show you what the options you've got. So at this point here, you've got the ability of Long One to get you into that level 10. You've got the level 10 here as well if you want to. You've also got Denglong. Now at this point, you're going to use Denglong's effect. You're going to send the Chew into the graveyard and go from there. Now this will make it a level 1, and like I said previously, if you didn't want to adapt this level or you wanted to adapt this level in a different way and get a float for a non-tuner of Bian, then you would be able to play a little bit differently, because what you'd do is you'd activate Long One, discard, summon, token, and now you've got the ability to sync for a 7 here, and that will then spawn a level 3. So then that gives you the option for a level 5, or it'll give you the option of a level 7 again. But it really depends on what else you're going for and where else you're going to push. Ultimately, if you use your Long One plus the token and get you into your Quinn Long One, put over here, you've then got the ability, if you wanted to sync these two together for the other level 10. Now, this is my mistake for not playing this. The more and more I'm testing, the more and more I want to put this back in, because of when you're worm locked, you're in a good position. So I'm going to use this as an example, because not only will we get a draw off of the Long One, Shuna, that's absolutely fine, but you've then also got the ability that when Chewing comes back and gets banished, you can actually trigger the Chen Ying. So what you want to do here is you're then going to use the Ringo Worm effect to banish it and spawn a token. You then use the token plus the monk and go into... Now I know this stops the effects on the board, which is absolutely fine. It's just something for you to kind of keep in mind. But you've then got the ability to discard, so we'll discard the Ashuna, doesn't really matter, just to add you back your Yugioh. Now keep in mind as well, you do also have the Chiffon in the graveyard, so if you did keep Monk on the board and your opponent forgets about this, or you go for the blackout play, you're actually going to get to pop 3. But the whole idea of this play right now is to show you how you can get into a Herald during your opponent's turn. So all of these are banished. I've got an Ashuna for follow-up the next turn, but that wasn't guaranteed. That was just a random draw. I've got the Yugioh coming back. I've got a bounce off of Vishuda, and then I've got a pop if a non-effect monster gets destroyed. So passing to my opponent's turn, not to mention the draw off of this we had previously. Pass your opponent's turn, we'll ignore the draw and Lockbird for now. The idea is that when they activate something, you activate 9 pillars. You negate, and then you destroy. So the last thing to happen is the destruction of a Yang Zing. So you're then able to go, okay, cool, chaining 1, Chewin, chaining 2, Denglong, because it was face up on the field and left the field, to summon out Bian. Wherever it may be. There you go, right to the top. So you've now got Bian and Chewin. What Bian gives you is during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, it has the ability to synchro. Have on the field here. You then synchro using Bian and Chewin. Chewin will get banished, and this will then allow you to go into a Herald, which can't be destroyed by battle. So a bit retro on that one. Off the back of that as well, Chen Ying will also trigger because I believe a card has been banished. So if a card is just banished, except during the damage set, so it doesn't even need to go from the graveyard. So Chewin gets banished, you then trigger this to banish. You've then got the ability to deal with monsters there. So you've got 1 negate there, 1 negate there, 1 negate off the pillars, so that's 3 already. 4 off of this as a banish, 5 and 6. 6 forms of interruption plus the random draw in the hand. You're going to cause your opponent a very bad time. Now, like I said previously, it's not the end of the world to end if you're going to be going Yang Zing heavy like this build kind of, well, not heavy, but Yang Zing focus like this build is. It's not the end of the world if you do decide to leave a Yang Zing on the board turn 1 or turn 0, because that will then give you the ability to synchro during your opponent's turn. And that's where Yazi is going to become more important, because if you pillars off your Denglong and get a Yazi, get a Bian from the deck, Bian can then synchro into a 10 using the Yazi, which, like I said, is a Baron that can't be destroyed by battle. Alternatively, as well, you also have the ability to go into a Chen Ying that can't be destroyed by battle, or a Qijing that can't be destroyed by battle. So you've got very few options. So after a very decent shuffle and a good old cut. So our second test hand going first will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, hello, Mena. Considering cutting this actually, because it's very situational. It's good, it's very situational. Activate Emergence, of course, we're going to go into You can go for Moyi or you can go for Tyre. Doesn't really make a huge amount of difference. I think Tyre can probably set up Moyi play as well, so we'll go this way. If you are worried at all about anything that's going to negate you, then of course you just go long 1 early doors. Spawn this, spawn the long 1 token, use the token plus long 1, go into Baron, and now you're protected. So you burn your opponent for 1200 and you're pretty much protected, good to go. You've got the option for Ecclesia to become anything you want. It can become Moyi, but we're actually going to foolish the Moyi off of the Tyre. So we're going to use Tyre's effect. This will then banish Mermer. You could have, if Mermer was still in the deck, actually manipulate the level of Tyre, go into a Yazi, and then Baron can pop the Yazi. And in doing so, what that does is it lets you spawn the Mermer from the deck, and you can start spawning tokens in order to get to a Denglong in one way or another. But instead, we're going to go this route. So you're going to Tyre. Tyre is going to sync itself with the token, and this is going to allow you to get your Yugioh. Chaining 1 Yugioh, chaining 2 Tyre. Off of Tyre, you want to send Moyi. There we go. And then off of Yugioh, I'm actually going to get greedy, so we're going to search Summit. There we go. Going to activate Summit, you're going to monster reborn the Moyi. You're going to use Moyi's effect to reveal the long 1 in the hand. You're going to spawn the Swordsoul token. There we go. So this is just like full Swordsoul combo. Shuffle up because we're going to get a nice random draw off of Moyi. Sync into another level 8. Now there's no point in going to a Yugioh in my opinion, so you're probably better off just going into a Berserker. Then we get the random draw off of Moyi. Another long 1, really? Yeah, okay. I mean, the fact we've gone through all 3 long 1s is slightly funny. But, yeah, not much more you can really do with that, to be fair. It's still a very good hand. Like, I've got long 1 follow-up for the next turn. I've got Ecclesia follow-up for the next turn. I've got a Berserker negate. I've got a Yugioh negate. And I've got a Baron negate. So it's not actually that bad. It's just I would have liked it to be a bit more defensive. But that kind of shows you what you can get with a full Swordsoul hand. When you see no Tenyis and only Swordsouls, this is what you get. Okay, so you've got 2 different type of hands there. You've got one with everything and one with one root of all the engines. So what we'll do now is we'll shuffle up and we'll start going second. So after another decent shuffle and another good old cut, our hand going second will be 1, broken, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I would have naturally used Droll, I personally feel, if it was a good matchup. If not, then you just keep it in the hand as fodder. This hand's actually pretty nuts, though. I mean, you can't really class these two because they're both one-offs. So, I mean, if either of these was Small World, I'd still have route to get to one of them. Ideally this. But the idea is I'm going to Kaiju my opponent. I'm then going to Special Vishuda, turn Vishuda into Monk, and now I'm going to put my opponent in a very tough position because I'm now going to be able to go Banish Vishuda, bring this back, Kaiju again. So I've got rid of 2 monsters already. Very, very good. Obviously, Moyi can reveal Blackout, so that's in a good space. I've also got the ability, as long as they control more monsters than me, to special summon down Ecclesia. I can use her effect to tag out. The issue is I don't have a Swordsoul in the grave yet. So you could probably just special summon down the Ecclesia and hold on to it because you're going to reveal your entire hand. So you normal summon the Moyi, use Moyi's effect, reveal the Blackout, spawn her token. Synchro Moyi and her token and go into Yugioh. Chaining 1 Yugioh, chaining 2 Moyi. Shuffle that up, draw 1 off the Moyi, broken. And then search off of the Yugioh. If you're going aggression, you've already got Blackout, so we're going to go for long 1. And now you've got the ability to use Ecclesia, tag yourself out, go into Tyre. Tyre's effect will then banish Moyi from the graveyard, spawn his own token, synchro the token plus Tyre, and because we're going second, we're going to go into Baxia. Baxia's effect, because it used a wind and a water, chaining 1, Tyre chaining 2. So Tyre can send Adhara. That will then allow me to spin the Kaiju back to my deck and spin any one of their monsters, which is really kind of cool. or any one of their cards, to be honest. If I wanted to, I can use Baxia to pop a card and bring back, but it's not necessarily needed. I can use long one, discard the Ashuna, spawn itself, spawn its token, sync itself with its token. I'm not worm locked, so if I wanted to, I can go into Baron. Baron's then protected. Burn your opponent for 1200. Now I can worm lock myself if I want to. So I can go Ashuna, summon out level 4. No, let's not go for level 4. What am I talking about? Let's go for Vishuda. And the reason we go Vishuda is I can then use Baxi's effect to target the monk, destroy the monk, summon back the Adhara, sync these two into Berserker, and then if I really, really wanted to, banish the Adhara. Actually, no, I can't. I've got non-effect monsters on the board. But still, like, look at that board. And my opponent's been Kaiju twice. They got Kaiju twice. Baxi's spun stuff. This is guaranteed game. Like, if there's any monsters left, Berserker deals with both of those. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 direct. And I've still got a blackout for follow-up the next turn. So that was a very aggressive board. Jeez. In theory, it did kind of play through interruptions as well. Like, if the assumption was that the first Kaiju dealt with anything that could stop Vishuda, and then the second one deals with any of their towers that causes issue, and you kind of go from there. Cool. So let's go second again. That was, again, just utilizing Tenyis and Sword Souls. So, I mean, like, Tenyi and Swordsoul is obviously the core of the deck. That's just how it works. The Yang Zings are just, like, nice additions. And I'm definitely considering cutting the Ringo one down to maybe 1. I'm not sure yet, just because I can search. If I'm going to keep the small world, that's the route I would go. So, going second, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, then. I wish I could see long one in my hand like this consistently. Activate Emergence. Again, it's entirely up to you on if you're trying to play around a draw, if you don't care about a draw, if you want to try and spin multiple cards. I'm going to go for, because we're going to go greedy again, we'll actually go for the Tire. I can Yazi Mare, I suppose. That would be pretty funny. Emergence goes there. If I'm worried about anything, I can very easily long one. And I'm not, because I'm going second, I'm going to get rid of the blackout. So let's long one, spawn its own token, sync itself and the token, go into Baron just to protect, burn my opponent for 1200. Then I can normal summon the Tire. Tire's effect can banish the blackout. Not only will this spawn a Tire token, but it'll also spawn another token, which is very important for later on. You've then got the ability, if you wanted to, you could have been banished Emergence instead of the blackout to adapt the level and go into a Yazi. But I might be able to do that a little bit later on. So, sync the Tire plus the token and go into, I mean, Baxi can give me the spin, but we'll go Yugioh instead. Chaining 1, chaining 2. Tire will Foolish Moyi. Yugioh will search out Summit. There we go. Special summon down Ringo. I'm going to sync Ringo with Yugioh and go into Chaos Angel. I can banish Ringo, spawn a level... Oh, do I want a level 2 token? Yeah, I could do. Spawn a level 2 token before I bring back Moyi. So we've got a 2 and a 4. I don't want an 8 really. I want to try and get to a 7 because it would be fun. So 2, I need a 5, don't have a 5. I can get to a 9, or I can get to another 10, I suppose. Let's get to another 10. Let's just go all out aggression. Why not? Tribute a worm monster, add a worm monster from the deck to the hand, or if you tributed a non-effect monster to activate its effect, you get to special summon it instead. Nice. So we'll get rid of the token. We'll special summon out another long one. This board's going to be hella aggressive. Sync long one plus the token. Get into Sovereign. Not sorry, I'm sorry, long one. Activate Summit, bring back Moyi. Moyi's effect, reveal long one. Don't know why I'm discarding it. Reveal long one. Spawn the Moyi token. Sync Moyi plus the token into another level 8, which can pretty much be anything you want. It can be Baxia for a spin 1. It can be Berserker. Like, I might as well complete the aggressive nature of this board. Go Berserker just to be uber aggressive. Effect off a Quinlong to draw 1. Pillars, okay. Now I want Baxia. Nothing more in grave. Nothing more in field. That's kind of it. You just end there. Like, this is attacking twice. If opponent activates a spell or a monster effect, this can get rid of it, or special monster gets rid of it. Chaos Angel would have banished one on summon. Baron can pop one. Negate. These are all protected. They can't be unaffected by opponent's monster's activated effects. It's just game. And then if you're that worried, you just go back to your spin 1. But this is all off of the knowledge of drawing into pillars. Otherwise, naturally, if you're going aggression, you're going there. So, and that's it. That's a push play. So the thing you've got to remember about pillars is even if you wanted to play the Yang Zings at its base minimum, just playing pillars and Denglong is okay. I mean, you don't get advantage off of Denglong being sent, which isn't the end of the world if you're not going to be playing Chew-In, but the deck's still uber fun. Like, I really, really do enjoy it. It's not at its most optimal right now. I'm still testing around because the format shifted and the ban list has shifted it, but it's still very, very fun to play. As my closing thoughts on this, I'm arguably considering putting Ringo Worm down purely because I'm playing the Small World route. It lets me kind of utilize this brick on this least, and then it can let me put in some more hand traps as well. So I feel that with Kashtira still running around, Ghost Spell is definitely going to be an option. Like if you cut out 2 Ringo Worms and arguably cut the Mare, I'm not a big fan of this. I never even really was a fan of it in Synchros. I would still keep the Kaiju in. I just like the option of being able to break a board. But straight away, taking out these 3 cards now, then give me the option to... I mean, if Droll's not going to be good next format, you take Droll out as well. But that's 4 cards that can very easily be Imperms and very easily be Ghost Spells, you name it. So that's just my kind of closing thoughts on the build. But you can see what the deck can do. Like, it's very nice, the addition of Denglong. It's very nice, the addition of the Yang Zings. Yeah, and I can't wait to see how it progresses going forward. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as absolutely always, stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.